welcome to our Scottish collaboration storytelling episode. But I can't take credit for coming up with this amazing idea. That goes to the awesome Derik, who is the host of many, many podcasts, such as Ratchet Book Club, where Derik reads good classics and hood classics, which I'm a huge fan of, and also Storytellers, which Derik describes as being 4 minds, 1 story, where 2 age-old activities of storytelling and the game telephone are fused together, culminating in a thrilling new medium called Storytellers. Here's the man himself to tell everyone what to expect.
The way that it begins is that we have 4 storytellers and we randomly choose who will go first, second, third, and fourth. And from that, the first person will begin the story. They then send their segment of their story to me, and I send that on to the second person. The second person will continue the story based on what the first person did, and then they will send their segment back to me. Here's where it gets interesting, because I take the second person's story and I send only their segment to the third person. And I tell the third person to build it into a climax without ending the story. And then I take the third person's story and I take their part and their part only and send it over to the final storyteller. And I tell them to bring the story to a logical conclusion. So, without ever hearing the beginning of the story at all, the person who's at the end has to end the story. And without ever hearing how the story ends, the person at the beginning has to begin the story. And then we all get together on Zoom and we have a meeting and a sit down where we talk about how the story went. And it's generally pretty doggone awesome. The stories sometimes stay on the same path all the way through. Sometimes it deviates wildly from where the initial story was thought to be. But anyway it goes, it is a excellent experiment in the art of storytelling. Some people write their stories out. Some people improv their stories and just say it as a freestyle sort of thing. And either way is just fine. Again, this is just to show that anyone can tell a story.
You can find out about Derik and his podcasts on Twitter at Ratchet Book Club, and you can find all links in the show notes. So now we know what today's episode is about, let me tell you who the storytellers are today. We have Max and Tom from Terrible Music, we have Emma from Bru and Crispies, and we have Tara, a friend and listener of Scottish Murders. So let's find out a bit more about them. Welcome to the show, Emma. Can you tell us a bit about Bru and Crispies?
Hiya, I'm Emma. I'm 1 pint of 2 pints of Bru and a chocolate crispy, who I co-host with my best friend Jackie. Our podcast was born out of lockdown. It was never planned to happen. We still don't plan very well, and we don't edit because we don't know how to. So with 4 seasons just now. First season was Lockdown, second Crime and Punishment, third Life, and we are currently on Myths and Legends. We're still trying to feel what direction we want to go into and whether we want to stick to one topic or not. But we'll find our way at some point, maybe.
Great. Okay, Max and Tom, tell us a bit about Terrible Music, as well as your podcast, What Is?
So I'm Tom.
I'm Max.
And we're 2/3 of the What Is podcast, and we're also Terrible Music, as just me and Max.
100% Terrible Music.
Yeah. So What is
well, it started it started out as Semitone Sardines,
which was all music focused.
Yeah, we just reviewed songs, and then after the first season, we kind of decided that we wanted to broaden it out a little bit, and we started talking about whatever we wanted.
Yeah, what is anything?
Exactly.
Which was kind of inspired slightly by the What If Marvel series, or at least that's how I see it anyway.
That's definitely where it came from.
And then we've just finished the first season of that, and then we're going to start a second season soon.
Yeah, and as Terrible Music, we've just released our first album, Pilot, and it's just stupid, funny
comedy songs.
Funny in quotation marks songs.
Yes.
Okay, so it really isn't Terrible Music, as the name would suggest. The songs are really good. Definitely check out their new album, Pilot. So Tara, you don't have a podcast, but you are a valued listener and friend of Scottish Murders. So could you tell us a wee bit about you?
Yeah, I don't have a podcast. I'm an Aberdonian who lives in London now. I'm a Pilates teacher, and I studied history when I was at uni in Aberdeen, and I love true crime. Me and my mum are obsessed with true crime and true crime podcasts. So that's how I got involved in this. So I've got no natural ability in this area, as you'll see, but I'm just a listener of Dawn's podcast and I love it.
Yeah, Tara's mum knows everything about Scottish true crime. It's an ongoing challenge to try and find a case that she hasn't heard of.
my mum loves it. Knows everything.
So there also was another storyteller who can't be with us today, and that was Cole, my sister, who started off the story. So, are you all ready to get started?
I'm
Yes.
so excited.
I can't wait.
I
I'm
can't wait to hear it all.
Okay, so here's Cole's part.
Oh God. Okay. Let me think. It's bright. No. It's dark. Is it dark? I'm not thinking straight. I need to get my head together before I start to panic. Okay. Close your eyes, Charlie. Calm yourself. Deep breath in. Count to 7. Now breathe out. Keep going. Okay, now open your eyes. It is dark. Why did I think it was bright before? Was there a light on? What am I missing? What happened? Why can't I remember? And what is this thing next to me? Round and bumpy? Is it alive? I'm getting distracted. Right, the last thing I remember is eating. Oh yeah, I was in that new place that does those amazing tacos. God, I love tacos. Why am I thinking about how much I love tacos right now? I remember that guy sitting on my table. What did he want? I remember what he was eating, but not what he wanted. God, I really do love tacos. Soft shell crab. It looked so good. I'll have to try it next time. Next time? What is going on? I don't know where I am, but I'm thinking about soft shell crab tacos. This is ridiculous. Okay, so it's dark, but I can see little flickers of light. I'm lying down, but I'm not tied up or anything, so it can't be that bad, can it? Okay, right, my eyes are starting to adjust. I think I'm in a factory? Rows and rows of shelves. Costco's? It looks like an abandoned Costco's. Did I come to Costco's, hit my head, pass out, and then they left me here? What a story that'll be if that is the case. I don't feel a sense of panic, so I must be okay. That's what I'm telling myself for now, at least. Hello? Okay, silence. What did I expect? Someone to shout back like, hey, how are you? What's going on? Obviously not. Time to try and stand up and get out of here. I can figure out the rest later on. The shelves, they're full of boxes. I don't know what's inside them. Let me open one up. Okay. Paper. Okay, paper. I can't read this paper. It's too dark. I can't hear anyone. I think I'm alone. Okay, so, right, that's fine. I've got myself into this weird situation and I can't remember much about it, but I can figure it out. Or I can find a light and snoop through all these papers. There might be something juicy. There must be a master switch somewhere in here. I can barely see, but I'm just going to walk towards the wall and feel around. Huh. Okay, lights have come on. That was almost too easy. I shouldn't have been able to find that light switch so easily. It doesn't make sense. This place, it's such a maze. I don't even know where I was when I woke up. There's just so many shelves. Oh my God, and what was that weird bumpy thing? I have to try and find it again. I need to figure out that as well, or it'll bug me. I'm still not seeing or hearing anyone. Okay, snoop time. Okay, the boxes are dusty, but they've definitely been opened recently. There are areas that aren't dusty from fingers touching them. Maybe I shouldn't be snooping. I better have a quick look around instead. Look for a door to leave and get myself to the hospital about this memory loss, because that can't be good. Okay, door. 4 big walls. Not seeing a door though. There's just too many shelves. No doors. No, there must be a door. There can't not be a door. Oh my god, there's no doors. There's no doors. Okay, calm. What was that noise? A radio? I think I can hear a radio. I can hear a song playing faintly in the background. Is it a song? Hold on. Another one bites the dust. Oh my god, I love Queen. Okay, I guess my long-term memory is still hanging in there. Thank God for that. Okay, I see it now. That isn't a wall. Okay, it's a room divider. Oh, right, okay, that must be where the music's coming from. Great, okay, time to leave. Oh crap. I just knocked one of these boxes off of the shelf. Okay, I'm less panicky now, but I still need to chill and get out. I just need to tidy this up first. It's my own fault. I don't want to make a mess of the place. Oh God. What is this? What is this inside of this box? How can I be looking at this? This can't be real. It can't be. Oh God, the panic's back. I need to get out now. I need to get out now.
Charlie!
So, Max, what did you think when you got Cole's part?
So many things. I just didn't know what. At first, I had no idea what to do. I had a lot of ideas, but none of them were really. I don't know. It was just there was a lot going through my head, and I was totally bewildered. But I loved it so much.
So, Tara, you did part 4. Here in part 1, would you have thought this is how the story would have started?
I would have had absolutely no idea. No, I was literally like, how did I get here?
Yeah.
So, after writing the first part, Cole thought that it might end up being a kidnap story and that there would be some deep, dark secrets in the boxes.
It didn't quite go that way, did it?
No.
So, Max, before we hear your part of the story, can you tell us how you went about writing it?
Well, I thought it was going to go down a kind of kidnapper or like monster type route, and I decided that I wanted to go in the opposite direction. And so I just kind of wrote out everything that I thought it would be stupid to be, basically. And then I just wrote it all out in my notes and read it. And then I recorded it, and it was only 2 minutes long, and I had to like really beef it up.
It definitely went in a completely different direction than I thought it would too. So let's hear Max's part.
Sorry, excuse me. Charlie, my name is Agent Rickenbacker. I work for Destinations After Disaster, or DAD for short. Just to be clear, I do work for my dad, and he did get me this job, but I could have got here on my own. And he's not even my boss. He works in a different sector, and we barely see each other at work, so it's not that big a deal. Anyway, you may be confused about where you are and how you got here. The story of where you are is quite simple. You're in IKEA. The story of how you got here is too long for me to record right now. I don't have much storage left on my phone, and I promised my daughter she could download Roblox. But to cut a long story short, you're a whiz, Charlie. A whiz at detective work. But your memory was wiped after a mission. It must have been an off day for you. Your memories will come back eventually. I wouldn't worry about it. But don't get your hopes up about it. I mean, you're not an exciting person, so. But if you want to fast forward the process, music helps. And just a little word of advice, in the future, stay away from tacos. Anyway, by knocking over this box, you have agreed to your next mission, which I'll give you the brief on shortly. But first, let me introduce you to your companion for this mission. Meet Betty the Bat. Betty is the best of the best, the creme de la creme, genetically modified, part machine, can speak 9 languages including English, Spanish and Dolphin, and she's one hell of a dance partner. She's the perfect undercover spy. Or at least she was, until she lost her hearing when a mission went wrong. She was at her stakeout location, but it was right next to a cave for whatever reason, and when the sun went down, an exodus of bats just poured out of the cave and she got absolutely stampeded. Her ears were obliterated. So that was another off day for one of our agents. So you'll have something to talk about. Well, you can talk about it, but she won't hear you. But it might be good to talk about it regardless. But just a little disclaimer: she is a bat, and she is now deaf, so she's pretty useless as a spy. So you might need to help her navigate. But she won't disappoint. She's very, very good. Just keep an eye on her. No wind farms. We've had too many guillotine moments with our winged agents. Oh, Flappy, we miss you. Anyway, your mission is to restore the food chain. When the aliens came, I don't think anyone expected them to overlook humans and go straight for the spiders. But, that's what they did. And, at first it was great. It was a blessing, no more spiders. What a result. But as a result, there are now flies all over the place. You need to make this right. Go forth and make Dad proud.
This message will self-destruct in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Goodbye.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I loved that so much. I just didn't expect it to go that way. Tara, what did you think of Max's part of the story?
I now know where Betty the Bat came from.
Not gonna lie, Betty the Bat and my part goes a completely different direction.
I don't know if Betty the Bat in my bit was as sort of technologically capable.
So Cole thought it was great that there was an introduction of a character that was just as wacky as Charlie, and she liked the fact there was a secret mission. She loved the fact it was quite flippant about the fact there was a deaf bat and that this was normal.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, just here's a bat. I think she might have got her hearing back in my bit because I think I missed that. Sorry.
Yeah, she has a hearing back in my bit.
Oh, she deserves it. She's the best of the best.
Poor Betty went from being like this creme de la creme to being like, yeah, she's useless.
Yeah, Betty goes in a weird direction.
Oh, I'm so excited to hear.
It's amazing what happens to Betty by the end. So Emma, after hearing Max's part, how did you go about writing your story?
So mine was a little less planned. So you'd obviously emailed me and I was in Sky. So with no signal or anything. So when I got home, I said to you, I'll get to you by the Monday, which ended up with me actually lying on my bed on Monday evening, recording just completely off the cuff. And it was really done with things that were sitting in front of me. And I winged it, I'm not going to lie. But I did, to be fair, I'd sat and I'd written scripts on the Saturday at work. I hope my boss doesn't listen to this. And when I sat down with it in my room, I went, do you know what? No, absolutely not. And I just did it off the cuff. But when I first heard Mark says, your ears must have been burning, because I was like, what am I doing with this? There's a deaf bat and Pierre Charlie's in IKEA. And I really feel for him right now. And I was like, no way. I was like, Max hates me right now. So yeah, that's how that came about.
Okay, let's have a listen to Emma's part of the story.
Oh my goodness, that is just lovely. Oh, once Agent of Doom's message finished, the device went up in smoke and it smells like eggs. he could have at least given me a heads up before that went off. Oh, goodness me, I don't even know where to go from here. Listen to the message from Agent Reckenbecker that, well, I'm taking for that he's got some daddy issues for a start, and his daughter plays the worst game in the world. My memory has been wiped, although I do retain some memories. And I have to save the food chain. But it's okay, because I'm like Jason Bourne with a flying rat. Excellent. I don't even like bats. This day is just started out wrong. And I'm in a bed in IKEA. And I don't even like IKEA, so I don't even know why I would be here. I can't stand flat pack. So why I would be here, I have no idea. And this bat is at the end of the bed staring at me. And she really unnerves me. But she just keeps looking right through me. And there's people walking about, and they're staring at me as well. I'm feeling really uncomfortable right now. I've got a mouth like Gandhi's flip-flop. I really do need a drink. I think the best idea is to go up to the cafe. At least get out of this bed anyway. That's what I'll do. Oh, I've got a backpack. I'm presuming this is mine. Let's have a look. What is it? Oh, a set of car keys. Oh no, I don't know if this is really mine. There's a set of Renault car keys. There's absolutely no way I'd be driving a French car. I don't know. Oh, and a laptop. Oh, right. The plan. Betty, do you want to go upstairs for a coffee? Whilst we figure this out? Betty? Betty? Gosh, she can't hear me, can she? I wonder if she can read, though. I mean, she's clearly intelligent. That she can speak Dauphin in Spanish. So, surely she can read. Coffee? You can read? You're shaking your head. Okay, excellent. So we know that she can read, so she is super intelligent. Great. Right, up the stairs. Come on, let's go. Right. There we go. All comfortable. So, I see I wasn't security conscious. I have left the password to the laptop on a post-it note inside it on the screen. Goodness gracious me. Right, let's have a look now. Some emails. Yeah, this is jogging a few memories. Rackenbecker said that music might help, so it's maybe an idea for me to put on my music. See if that helps with my memory. I don't think we've got time for my memory to come back, though. Like, we've got to save the food chain. Like, that's no small task. Is it, Betty? Just shake your head, please. Acknowledge me or something. How are we going to save the food chain? I think maybe we need to sit down with the aliens. See if we can come to some agreement. Or, I don't know, maybe we've got something that they want that we could give them in exchange for them disappearing. I think we should start there, Betty. However, if that fails, I do know that bats eat insects. And this place is full of them. We can't even see over the city out of the IKEA window because it's black with flies. It's disgusting. However, if we were to put an army together of all the bats in the world, then maybe, just maybe, we could get rid of the flies. But that doesn't mean to say we're going to get rid of the aliens. So, with that in mind, Betty, I think we should go with option 1. And I think we should have a sit down. Now, who's in charge of the aliens? Let's
have a look on here. Scorpius. Of course it is. Scorpius. So I am just going to ping Scorpius's people an email. And me and you, Betty, we're going to go see the aliens. Yes, we are.
Emma, that was brilliant. I loved the Reno comment as well.
No, that was my favourite.
I just want to say I've never owned a French car and I never will.
And I love as well, like, having heard from you at the start of this podcast, like, I love how much you got your intense dislike of bats, IKEA, and flat pack furniture. All of that. You made sure that all made it in there. It's really true to life.
And the laugh of it was as well, the laptop was sitting in front of me, and it's not mine, it's my other half. So when I opened it up, his password was sitting there. For God's sake.
I love that bit. I've got just above my laptop, I've got a whiteboard, and I've wrote my password on the whiteboard. And anytime Tom comes over, I'm like, if you want to use my laptop, the password's just there.
Well, it also happens to be his password for everything.
I use it for everything.
Oh no!
Oh no, you have to change it now.
I know. I also love Scorpius having an email address. Scorpius at yahoo.co.uk.
Cole said she loved how it was all chaotic and all over the place, which makes sense with you saying that you did it off the cuff. And she said she loved the Bat Army. She wanted the Bat Army. So Tara, what did you think when you got Emma's part?
Right, well, here's a confession for you guys. So what happened is this happened to come at I was horribly like up against it with loads of things, and as I said, I was really nervous because this is not my, just not creative talk. So of course, my mum, who is like the true visionary in this partnership, I actually sent it to my mum. Helped me with this. I was like, Mum, if you write it, I'll read it. Like that'll be the deal. So my mum heard it first, and my mum wrote it. My mum wrote something really, really good, actually. It was really good. And I recorded it, and I was like ready to go. And I thought, before you do this, Tara, like, you need to listen as well. So I listened back. I was like, you can't just send it without listening. So I listened back, and I realized that what my mum had done is she'd written me something like it was like a book. So it would be like, it would flip from speaking in the first person to speaking in the third person. And I was like, oh no, this isn't right. So I stuck with her general theme, and I had to just on the hoof kind of change it. And I think I just bridged it. I don't think I brought anything at all, or because when I was recording, I was so self-conscious. So I think I just took it in a vague direction and thought somebody could wrap this up at the Wales New Car Company. So mine actually was quite short, and I'm going to shut my ears when you play it. Yeah, so I had to give my mum a little shout out there, because my mum was the true visionary. In this true crime podcast partnership, it's definitely my mum, much more than me.
A good team. So just before I play Tara's part, Tom, now you've heard how the story started and knowing how you ended it, what are you thinking?
I'm slightly panicking about how my part is so different to everything else.
Tom, that might be my fault. Because I'm so sorry.
No, your part was fine. It's just there was no I don't want to say anything.
Yeah, don't give anything away, Tom. And Tara, your part was great. Let's have a listen.
I'm feeling kind of a strange mix of dread, but also determination. I just need to know what's going on. I mean, how did I end up doing this? I'm starting out down these horribly darkened stairs, and I hate the dark. Betty the bat is under my coat. I thought it's safer to hide her there and bring her with me. She's such a bizarrely horrible creature, but she also almost seems to need me. It's a strange feeling. I can't explain it. Feeling like this creature is dependent on you, but you don't even want to look at it. This silver whistle makes no sense either, but it seems to hold all the answers too, so I'm bringing it with me, safe in my coat pocket. My heart's literally beating through my chest. I can feel Betty's beating close to me too. It's not comforting though. She makes me feel uneasy and more alone than if she wasn't here.
It's a really deathly still autumn evening outside with an almost full moon. The light's so eerie over the rooftops. You can see it reflected in these black, lifeless windows and grim, damp, rain-soaked cobbles. I've walked this street 1,000 times and it doesn't feel familiar at all. It's so deathly quiet. Normally I love autumn. It's my favourite time of year. Strangely, the chill in the air and the shedding of the leaves, it just makes me feel quite warm and cosy inside. But just now I feel anything but. I'm scared and I'm anxious. And Betty's heart is beating. She's looking at me with these creepy eyes. These dark shadows are frightening. It's like everything around me is alive, but somehow not alive. I wish Betty would stop wriggling too. It's unnerving. Everything's so quiet. Betty, try and calm down. I know you can hear me. Or can you tell me where we're going and why we're going? Why you picked me? No, of course she won't. But I know she knows. She just can't tell me. Or won't. Or both. Oh wow, she's really wriggling now. She's almost scratching me. And suddenly the air feels weird, like there's something here and I can't see it or feel it, but I know it. And Betty seems to as well. It's just an atmosphere, a strange atmosphere. And there's a weird glow up ahead. A really strange glow. It's almost blue. Betty's scratching me still. She's not liking this at all. It's like she doesn't want us to go. I don't want to go either, if truth be told, but I can't seem to stop myself. I seem to have lost control over my own legs. I feel like I'm in a bit of a daze. Like, where am I and why am I in a car park? The light's gone now, but Betty's really stressed. She's on my shoulder now. She's making a strange noise. It's terrifying. We can still feel it. Something is here. They're in the distance, like a hooded figure wearing a black cloak. It can't be, though, can it? I hear this strange noise, like insects. I can't see them, but it's like there's so many of them. Like moths? Maybe attracted to the light? I know we need to run, but I can only stand and stare. Slowly. He seems to be moving. Is he turning around? Betty's shrieking now. I don't know what to do.
Ooh, how good was that?
So
That
good.
was good.
It's so mysterious.
It's really good.
It was brilliant. Didn't I email you, Tara, saying, didn't you want to do a podcast? You've got a perfect podcasting voice.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
went to proper Pilates teacher mode, you know, when you have to like, you know what I mean? So I just sort of zoned into like, I'm teaching Pilates. That's all I'm doing.
It was really good. It was so intense.
It was so descriptive as well. Like that's one of the main things I got from it was like there was so much description of things. So I was like writing down all of the things you were talking about, making sure I included.
Oh gosh.
See, you thought you were just bridging, but no, you set it up perfectly for Tom.
I know, I'm really excited to hear where it goes.
I can't believe it.
I feel like there should be some kind of warning that it does not really relate to anything before.
Max, what are you thinking, having heard from Cole's part to Tara's part now?
I'm very excited. I have no words. I love that Betty the Bat went from like a top tier spy to like a pretty useless spy, and now she's like just a pet bat basically.
Cole said that she loved the disgust for poor Betty.
Yeah, well, I took that from Emma. I took Emma's lead on that because Emma's obviously disgusted by bats in general. So I thought, oh, this bat's not nice. So yeah, so Betty's sort of become a very, very disliked, as you guys said, pet. Yeah.
Oh, well, we'll have to wait and see if it is poor Betty. So Tom, you're up next. Tell us about how you went about writing your part.
Yeah, so I feel like I'm quite an organized person. I always have lists and stuff. So listening to Tara's bit, I kind of like wrote a list of all sort of the key information in her story and was like, right, I need to make sure this continues. And then I wrote a full on, I think it was like 2 or 3 or 4 page script of everything that I was going to say.
Wow.
And then I recorded it and it was 12 minutes long and I was like, this is too much. So I had to like chop it down in places and remove some like interesting bits. But I accidentally put a pun into my story, which I'm really proud of. So if you spot that, bonus points.
Oh, I didn't get that pun, did I?
I don't think you mentioned it, no.
But when you emailed me, Tom, and said, so it's 12 minutes long, is that okay? I was like, maybe try and chop that down a wee bit. Okay, you're all desperate to hear this, aren't you?
Good luck.
I'm so
Yeah.
excited.
Good luck,
Can't
everyone.
wait.
Okay, here we go.
I hear a cat hiss behind me that makes me jump out of my skin. Betty hissed back out of fear too. She must have gotten a fright. I decided I must find out who the hooded figure is. I know Betty is terrified, but there must be a reason for all of this. And if anything, I need answers. And the silver whistle doesn't seem to be doing anything. The hooded figure has walked along another street out of sight, and the sound of the moths appear to be heading in the same direction. I follow the sound of the moths along the street. Betty is not happy at all. I can see St. Thomas's Church down the road where I once attended my friend Paul's funeral. Seeing the church only brings up bad feelings. But like everything around me, it's not how I remember it. Everything is dark and more gloomy than normal. I can see the bluish glow again through the stained glass of the church. I can hear the moths heading towards the church too. The hairs on my arm stood to attention. But I need answers. I walk through the church door, which has been left ajar. It's almost as if something is expecting me. I walk along the aisle of the church. Cobwebs everywhere. The carpet is all destroyed and the seats are run down. This isn't the same church I went to for Paul's funeral, and yet it was the same. None of this made any sense. I walked to the altar, where there was a book open. The book appeared to be in an ancient language. Looking around, I noticed a small hole in the wall, small enough for someone to hide something in, and from the looks of it, there's a red necklace in there. I use an old candlestick to help reach the necklace and pull it out, holding it in my hands. All of a sudden, Betty floats out of my pocket, as if by magic. A dark red glow comes from her, and the necklace floats up to meet her. I hide behind the altar and close my eyes due to how bright the glow is. There is a thud, and the glow dims. I open my eyes, but I dare not look out from the altar. I hear crackling and an evil-sounding laugh. Betty the Bat had transformed. "Finally," the evil voice says, "you have reunited me with my necklace that was stolen from me. Now that I am back to my full strength, I can get back to my master plan." I open my eyes, and there is a middle-aged woman. She stands there in a dark red dress, wearing the necklace. Her hair is dark and thick, and she carries a staff in one hand. She has pointed teeth, almost like a vampire would. But Betty, please don't hurt me, I beg," I said, trembling in fear. "Hurt you? You saved me. You helped me regain my full power, and I can finally get back to my plan." "Your plan? What do you mean?" "There is more to this world than what you can comprehend. I sought to fix this world and allow us to grow and be prosperous, but there are those who think my methods of achieving this are unconventional." I feel my anxiety and fear grow the more Betty talks. "You think this world is just for humans and animals, but you're wrong. There are dimensions side by side with this one where other creatures live, all in the same world but unable to thrive." I stand there frozen. "My plan was simple. I will break the boundaries to these dimensions to allow all creatures to live together and share in the growth and wealth." Whilst Betty continues to talk about her master plan, all I can think is that Betty cannot be allowed to do this. We don't know what the consequences of doing this will be. For humanity's sake, Betty needs to be stopped.
Okay, I'm going to stop it there. It's not finished, but I wanted to see what you thought so far.
I love it so much. I'm getting Pick a Destiny vibes from that.
That's not what I expected.
You know when he gets the pick and it goes onto his tooth?
Yeah.
And like, "I am complete." Making me think of that.
That's a good point.
Betty, she's evil.
I know.
I know.
I know. I mean, what a transformation for Betty.
I know.
She's had you all fooled.
Yeah.
See, I told you bats were evil. I knew it.
Talk about a character arc.
Do you want to have a guess about where it's going to go next, or do you just want me to play it?
Oh no, I want to hear the end.
Yeah, I want to hear.
Okay, here it is.
I slowly sidestep around the altar. I quietly grab the same candlestick I used to remove the necklace from the wall and make my way closer and closer. Some creatures may die, but that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. I scream and jump towards Betty, who seemed to know I was coming, and battered me away. I fly beyond the altar and land on the ground. You fool, Betty shouts. You could have joined me and lived, but now you must die. Betty leaps through the air and lands on top of the altar. Staff in the air, she starts speaking in another language, as if casting a spell. I close my eyes and await my doom. I can't believe this is how I'm going to die. As Betty is about to slam her staff on the top of the altar where her feet are, the sound of a sword slicing through the air, quick and fast, happens, and Betty screams. Aah! I open my eyes, still shaking, and now crying. Betty falls to the floor next to me in two halves, blood everywhere. I try to keep quiet in fear of what creature managed to kill Betty, but then it became so obvious. A blue glow came from the far side of the altar, and there, the hooded man. Moths flutter around the church, almost like a flock of birds flying around. I froze on the floor, not knowing if I should know to trust the person who saved me, or fear who earlier made me unable to move. The figure approached me, and I scream, "Please, don't hurt me, I'm sorry." The figure, now directly in front of me, removes their hood. A familiar face stares back at me. My friend Paul, whose very funeral I attended in this church, looks down upon me. He looks well. He looks alive. But how? Paul explains to me that he has been keeping a watch on me this whole time. He knew what Betty wanted, and has been protecting the necklace to save the fate of our dimension. But how are you here? You died. I attended your funeral right here in this very church. You don't understand where you are, do you? You don't understand why everything looks so similar to what you remember. Betty spoke of other dimensions, and she was not wrong. This, however, is the death dimension. Everything comes here to die, to end, and I have taken up the mantle to protect this dimension and welcome those who pass through to death. You, however, are not meant to be here and need to get back home. I faint to the ground in shock. Everything goes dark. Moments later I wake. Had I been dreaming, I thought to myself? Paul in his blue glow sat there on one of the pews reading a book. I cannot believe this is real, and yet what other explanation is there? Do you still have the silver whistle? Paul asks me. You know the silver whistle holds the answers. You just didn't know how. Blow on it, Paul says. I say nothing. I take the silver whistle out of my pocket and show it to Paul. Do it, he says. I blow on the whistle, but it appears to make no sound. I try again, but again, no sound. Then a sizzling noise on the altar begins to start. Paul lifts up the book that was lying on the altar, and the writing is glowing yellow. Where the ancient text previously was, a new text sits. Paul passes me the book, and I look down at the following words and read, "This chapter has ended, but your story continues." Everything goes bright yellow to the point that all I can see is light. A ray of peace fills my body. I hear Paul faintly say, "Farewell, my friend." I hear the fluttering of moths once more, and the brightness leaves me. I open my eyes, and I'm in a cinema theatre. The credits are rolling, and people are getting up to leave. I sit confused. Was all of this real? A small creature flies out from the top corner of the room and appears to be getting closer to the film projector lens. A shadow is projected onto the screen. The whole room glitches and flashes like in a game. The colour of the room is now red, and the shadow on the screen is a bat.
That was so good.
That was brilliant. What an amazing finish.
That was amazing. That was so good. What an ending.
I was so glad that you brought Betty the Bat back at the end. I was like, no, don't let it all have been a dream.
I just like how it goes from IKEA to the death diamond.
That was amazing.
Yeah, I loved that. That was so good.
That was so good. That I wish that this was like a video conference or something, because the actions that I was making during that were outrageous.
I was just watching Max whole time and his mouth dropped to the floor so many times.
I was so invested in that story.
Oh, it was you. I heard someone making wee gasping noises.
That was me. Yeah, I was gonna. Yeah,
That was so good.
that was so good, and a bat signal at the end.
Yeah, that was the best. That was brilliant.
I had to
loved
leave
that.
it on a cliffhanger. I felt like I had to.
That was amazing. And Tom had called me, and he was like, "I don't know what to do. I don't know. I've got loads of plot twists in it, but I don't know if it's good enough." And I said, "Add more."
I showed it to Abby, who's the other part of What Is, and my wife, and she was like, "I love this. This is amazing." And I was like, "Are you sure though? Are you sure it's good? Because I need to record this."
I
It's
think
fantastic.
that maybe we should consider having a podcast just for Betty the Bat.
I think
I
so.
agree.
That would
Yeah.
be pretty cool.
The adventure she could go on.
I know.
The Adventures of Betty, and then what Betty did next.
Who would have thought that she ended up being the main focus of the story?
I
I
know.
know.
Yeah.
It's getting Shyamalanian in here.
So now you've heard it all from start to finish. What are you thinking?
Oh, I thought it was brilliant. I loved it. The twists
was
and
so good.
turns.
It was like a roller coaster, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah,
It was.
absolutely.
So many emotions. I've been looking forward to this since we started doing it, and it's absolutely exceeded my expectations. It was so good.
Yeah.
Oh, I really loved getting each part through. I couldn't wait to hear what happened next. I'm so pleased you all enjoyed the whole process.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
loved
so
it.
good.
great, yeah.
Me and Tom share an email address for What Is, and when you'd sent Tara's part over, I was so tempted to listen to it. And and when Tom sent his away, I was tempted to listen to that too, and I had to like properly give myself a talking to him, like, you can't do it.
Aye, but it wouldn't have made any sense.
I
You
know,
still wouldn't
yeah.
have known what had happened in the middle. You'd be like, how the hell did it get here? I blame Tara.
I know. I just was like, well, Betty.
No, it was brilliant. You all just brought something unique to each part. Even the sound effects were perfect, Emma.
I know. I like that. Like actually typing on the laptop and stuff.
I said it was literally the bag was my bag. I had to Sky with me because I hadn't unpacked it, and there was keys sitting in it.
Oh, what's it?
Is that where the backpack came from?
Yeah,
So you literally used what was around you?
what was around me?
I love that creative process.
Okay, well, last thoughts from Cole. She said she liked how reality seemed to fade around the guy in the story at the end, and she loved how it was evil Betty. She didn't expect that at all, from her part being in what she thought was Costco. So what was the pun you had in your part of the story, Tom? Did anybody get it?
I think Max noticed. It.
I was like quietly dying of laughter once I heard it.
Oh, what was it?
Betty batted him away when he lunged at her.
Oh, yes! It's so obvious now.
I'm proud of that. That's probably the proudest of my work so far.
Well, it's been really great to have you all on the podcast, and thank you so much for taking part in this special story episode for the Scottish Collaboration Week. It's been so good. I really hope you've enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's been
Yeah,
great.
definitely.
Next year we should do like a sequel.
Yeah.
Yes.
Betty the Bat Part 2.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I really think people would enjoy that.
I know, yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
totally. They'll be invested in it.
Yeah, no.
We might actually have to turn it into like a written book with illustrations.
Yeah.
Pictures and everything.
So just before we finish, if anyone would like to know more about your podcast or your music, how can they find you, Max and Tom?
We mainly use Instagram for both
Yeah.
What Is and the other one was Terrible Music.
Thanks, Max.
And if you want further information, then our link trees are in our bio for Instagram. So it's just What Is Podcast and Terrible Music Official, right? Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you.
Brilliant. What about you, Emma?
Well, you can find me and Jackie at Bru and Crispies on Instagram and at pints_a on Twitter. That's the main ones we use. And we do have Facebook, which is Bru and Crispies, but we don't really use that much. And you can find us on Spotify, Anchor, Apple, and Good Pods, all the good places.
And Tara, how can everyone find you if they'd like to follow the Pilates challenges you're doing at the minute, for example?
I mean, I'm very boring, so I've got nothing to, but I'm TE Pilates on Instagram if you're interested in cemetery strolls, Pilates, or outdoor swimming. Then feel free to look me up.
All of these details will also be on the show notes. So that was the final story episode for the Scottish Collaboration Week. We hope you enjoyed it. And another massive thank you to Max, Tom, Emma and Tara for taking part. And also to Derik from Storytellers for coming up with such a great idea for a podcast.